Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is 3 Buck Theater for the 10th of January, 2019. I do apologize for no face cam. I'm having severe computer issues that are going to basically take that down for the foreseeable future. I will get it back up as soon as humanly possible, but that's okay. It gives us a chance to look at the wonderful thumbnail on the screen here. It gives us a chance to admire this particular image. This is the cast of the Avengers assembled for the first time on stage, San Diego Comic-Con Hall H in July of 2010. And I was in the room when this happened. I was there when this significant moment, and not only Marvel Cinematic Universe history took place, but just film history in and of itself happened. I was there in this room, which is why it makes me really happy to talk about this first story, because I think it's going to be kind of funny. Apparently, the Academy wants the cast of Avengers to lead the telecast. Now, this whole thing stems from Kevin Hart bailing out of hosting and nobody wanting to talk about it, or nobody wanting to take the job, nobody wanting to go to the Oscars, nobody wanting to deal with any of that. All they wanted to do is just stay away from the controversy. So the Academy was like, all right, fine, we want to have one host. We'll have dozens of hosts. And they really want the Avengers. Why? Because ratings are going to suck. Now, it says in the aftermath of Kevin Hart's short-lived stint as a host of the 91st Academy Awards, the embattled organization seems desperate to be looking for a solution that would secure the ratings they so eagerly desire. Keep in mind, in 2014 was the last time the ratings were high. Ever since then, it's been on a downward trend. The last couple years have just been terrible. Next month, with this controversy, might show it a little bit of an uptick, but if they've got nothing there that's going to keep people watching, no, the ratings are going to suck. Now, to that effect, The Hollywood Reporter today says that sources close to the Academy believe they are looking for a star-studded cast of presenters to make the ceremony more appealing for the viewers they think they're not reaching. You can't look. You can't do it anymore. Let's be fair on this one for a second. Why are people not tuning into the Oscars? Well, they're not tuning into the Oscars because why would they? They don't share anything in connection with these people, right? They don't share anything in connection politically or financially or monetarily or socially with these people. Middle America does not identify with Hollywood elite, and that's been showcased by a lot of things. What they should do, honestly, you want to get the ratings, the Oscars, you want to get the ratings, you know what you do? You get Roseanne. You get Roseanne Barr to host the Oscars, to just not say anything super racist, and I think you'll be fine. Now, it says, according to the trade, organizers may be after the actors in Marvel's biggest franchise to lead the February 24 fair. It appears that the Academy is reaching out to the Avengers cast as potential saviors, and the more of them that they can get, the better, which is true. The more that they could get, right? Like, going back to just the thumbnail here, this is the cast of the Avengers. This was the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 2010. 8 years ago, it was these people. Now it is so much more than just these people. It is so much more. But who knows what they're going to get? Who knows? Who knows? Now, it says here, to secure their participation in the telecast being produced by Donna Gigliotti and being co-produced and directed by Glenn Weiss, the source also claims that the Academy asked the Marvel stars not to present at the Golden Globes so that their presence at the Oscars would have more of an impact. Would it really? Would it really? I don't think so. But look, let's be fair. Marvel wants a lot of stuff. Marvel wants, they want the prestige. They want the people to come and watch. They want the good press. And after, Black Panther is up for the Golden Globes, Kevin Feige's first time going to the Golden Globes is walking the red carpet. Now let's take a quick second here and go into tinfoil hat territory, but this is tinfoil hat territory that I think actually really applies. Black Panther is up for 16 awards. That's what they've submitted it for. Avengers Infinity War is up for 11. They want the cast of Avengers to go and present at the Oscars. You bet your ass Black Panther and Avengers are going to be in for like every category that they were nominated for. The Academy wants the ratings. So who's to say that they don't sit there and tweak the system a little bit to make sure that, that they can get the people there, because they're already going to be there because they're already nominated. You know what I mean? And it's owned by it's owned by ABC. Disney owns ABC. Disney owns Marvel. These guys are contractually obligated to go to some of these events anyway, or to do the press junket stuff. Captain Marvel's coming out not long after that. I think only a couple days after the Oscars. So yeah, they're gonna put at least Brie Larson up there front and center to go out there and lead the charge. We'll have to wait and see who signs on, but I think at this point, I think the cast is going to be forced out there at gunpoint. But this one here is interesting to me. Mary Poppins is in the early planning stages, or Mary Poppins 3 is in the early planning stages at Disney. I'm a little bit perplexed by this because Mary Poppins Returns is doing okay. Not great, but okay. And I didn't think they'd want to go back in and continue the franchise. I mean, P.L. Travers is just a miserable, bitter woman who wrote a great character. And I think it's probably for the best that she's not around when they're trying to make these movies. But that being said, do we really need another Mary Poppins? Now it says here, Mary Poppins 3 is in early stages of planning at Disney. Mary Poppins Returns arrived in theaters over Christmas, and perhaps as much as any other movie that arrived in 2018, it was saddled with the burden of great expectations, given that it's a sequel to one of the most beloved classics in the Disney's vast library. But the response thus far has been quite good, and as such, it looks like the House of Mouse is looking at a sequel. It was recently nominated for 4 Golden Globes, including a Best Actress nomination for Emily Blunt, who has earned a great deal of praise for her portrayal of the magical nanny. The Mary Poppins 3 news comes from director Rob Marshall, who in a recent interview says this: "It's in the early stages, but I will say right now that there were 8 books, so there's a lot of great material still to mine. That's what we worked from, those incredible 8 books from P.L. Travers. So, listen, how many Star Wars films have there been? You know what I mean? Or James Bond's films. If there's a great character and story to tell, why not? Okay. Listen, for one, Mary Poppins is a good character. I'm not going to deride Mary Poppins. I'm not going to criticize Mary Poppins, but let's be somewhat realistic here. Let's be somewhat honestly realistic. Does she compare to Luke Skywalker or Han Solo or Darth Vader or James Bond? No. How many adventures of Mary Poppins saving the day are you going to tell, right? There are 8 books. What happens if you mine all those 8 books? Are you going to go into like 1968 Da Nang, right? A group of POWs are trapped behind enemy lines trying to escape, and one of them's like, I heard the story of this magical nanny. Right? I heard the story that if you pray real hard, she'll come through the sky on a floating umbrella and save all your problems. And then all of a sudden, Emily Blunt shows up, and she's Mary Poppins. Or someone takes that scene from The Last Jedi, and that's a whole other movie. They veer off. They cut it there and they veer off. Instead of going back to the ship, Carrie Fisher just zooms to Earth and they use CG technology. All right, I admit that joke fell flat, but let's jump over here to Captain Marvel pre-ticket sales soar, signaling box office debut, or a big box office debut for a female-led superhero film. Now, we're going to be hearing a lot about this, right? As Captain Marvel gets close to its release, people are going to be going, oh my God, guys, oh my God, have you heard? Have you heard how many tickets are being sold? It's already all over Twitter today from what I've seen. I just jumped on there to do some quick research, and people are like, oh, seriously, it's just amazing. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It's great. It says here, advanced tickets for Captain Marvel outpaced those of Captain America Civil War in the first 24 hours. Captain Marvel pre-sales could surpass those advanced tickets for Avengers Infinity War. No. Oh, come on. See, okay. There's BS and then there's BS, and that's some serious BS right there. All right, people are not necessarily like super hyped for Captain Marvel. I will say that trailer they released the other day, that 1.5-minute trailer, was remarkably better. That was remarkably fantastic in regards to what they were attempting to do. It got me interested in seeing the movie when otherwise I had not been that interested in seeing the movie. Marvel's Captain Marvel, its first film to feature a solo female lead, is already on its way to shattering box office records. Tickets for the film, featuring Academy Award winner Brie Larson in the title role, went on sale Wednesday ahead of its March 8th release, and in the first 24 hours outpaced pre-sales of 2016's Captain America Civil War. Can we stop for a second and just look at how much BS that is right there, right? A movie released 3 years prior, it did better. It was like Yeah, sure. If Captain America Civil War was like, Avengers 2.5, fine. And it had Spider-Man, fine. But it's also grown since then. In those 3 years, how many movies have come out? A lot. A lot. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people that are going to be very invested to see where things go. Coming off Avengers Infinity War, people are really going to be wanting to see what happens next because they're going to want any kind of information they get their hands on in order to make, to kind of take away some of the edge of waiting for Endgame, right? The pre-sale tickets for this are not because people are excited to see this character. I don't think so. They want to see more from Endgame. I'm not even kidding you. I think that's what it is. I really, really think that's what it is. It goes on to say here, the fact that Captain Marvel is third among the Marvel Cinematic Universe titles in the first 24 hours just shows you how much people are anticipating the film. Again, they're not anticipating it, I think, for Brie Larson, who, in the sake of fairness, did well in that last trailer. Movie ticket site Atom Tickets reportedly are similarly reported that Captain Marvel has outpaced ticket sales for major Marvel films in its first day of presale, falling short of the record set by Avengers Infinity War. Yeah, because you're not going to be able to top that. Still, Atom Tickets noted with their just over 40 days until the release of Captain Marvel, the film could outpace Infinity War in terms of overall pre-sales on its site. Yeah, I still don't think it's going to have as much of an impact as they think. And then it goes on to basically go, it's really good for Disney that this is happening. Yeah, well, Disney's going to make money one way or the other. Now, look, is Captain Marvel gonna go into the $1.3 billion market or area that Black Panther did? I honestly do not know. It could happen. It could happen. This is America. Anything could happen. I personally don't see it having that level of cultural impact. I look at it like this, and you can call me a cynic or whatever, but here's how I view it. When you look at Captain Marvel compared to Black Panther, they're just not comparable, right? Black Panther is a cultural icon, a cultural phenomenon that had a lot of repeat viewings, which is one of the things that brought it over into the $1.3 billion mark. And a lot of people out there looked at it as being a really good step forward in case of representation. We're not really going to get that with Captain Marvel because they are in some ways through the marketing trying to shoehorn that in. And there are people out there that have noticed. Now, I have made the claim that I do feel that there might be a bit of a drop from Captain Marvel in regards to other MCU films as a result of diehard James Gunn fans not wanting to support the opening weekend of the movie. Now, there are people that are going to argue with me on that, saying, "Well, the ticket pre-sales could be pretty good," and that's true. It's going to have a stellar, fantastic opening weekend. There is no question about that. But Batman v Superman also had a stellar $180 million opening weekend. And then it dropped 76% the next week. It's that second week drop you got to watch out for. But then again, Hollywood doesn't necessarily care about that, provided the opening weekend numbers are really good. Unless this movie blows your socks off, I do not foresee there being a lot of people going back repeatedly. They're going to get their Endgame fix, right? They're going to wait 6 weeks until the next movie comes out. And that is ultimately what's going to kill Captain Marvel. It is. Releasing Captain Marvel in March, 6 weeks away from Avengers Endgame, is only going to hurt the longevity of Captain Marvel. People are going to watch it. They're going to get their fix. They're going to get their fill. They're going to go, okay, bring it on, baby. And then they're going to wait and they're going to go see Endgame multiple times. In fact, I think Disney kind of screwed itself by releasing it now. People just want more right now. So that's why the ticket pre-sales are up. But hey, listen. I will fully admit this is one of those wait and see situations. Now, this is an interesting one that I thought was cool to talk about because I always like it when novels get adapted for television, not necessarily for movies, because it's so hard to adapt novels to feature films. We've learned this over the years. All right, Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire, hell, Harry Potter, Half-Blood Prince. Jeez. Right? Talk about taking a kick-ass ending of that book where Hogwarts is erupted in war and turning it into this like really lame ending that's just a setup for Deathly Hallows. You dropped the ball, Warners, but Netflix is a little bit different of a beast. Netflix greenlights a series adaptation of Shadow and Bone. Deadline reports that Netflix is moving forward with an 8-part series adaptation of the fantasy novel Shadow and Bone from the Grisha trilogy, as well as its universe-adjacent novel, The Six of Crows. Based on the novels from author Lee Bardugo, the series is being created, written, and executive produced by showrunner Eric Heiserer. who was known for scripting the 2016 horror hit Lights Out, as well as the Oscar-nominated sci-fi thriller Arrival. His other notable credits include Bird Box, which has been a massive ratings hit for the streaming service and received acclaim from audiences and generally positive reviews from critics. Yeah, this is one of those things where it's like, oh, Bird Box did really well. Okay, Eric, what do you want to do now? And he's all like, Shadow and Bone. And they're like, done. Done and done. And done. Set in the Grishaverse, the series will combine stories and characters of Shadow and Crows in a world divided by a barrier of pure darkness, in which evil creatures hunt and feast on humans on either side of the barrier. A soldier discovers a magical power that may be able to unite the two countries, but numerous forces scheming against her in a war brewing between the various factions and classes in the universe, she must race against time to find a way to use her power for good. The series is going to be executive produced through Sean Levy, who also works on Stranger Things. But then there's someone working with it who did the Diversion movies, so we can kind of in whatever. But the books themselves have sold over 2.5 million copies, while translated to 38 languages around the world. And there's another book coming later on this month. So it looks like an interesting one. It sounds like an interesting story. It's one of those ones where it does come across like, even though it's a fantasy, I don't know, the description makes me feel like it's a YA sort of thing. And that might be, again, the market that they're going for. But whenever Netflix decides that it wants to really adapt something that is for, adapting novels to television series or event series, I find to be a good thing, because then we get the exposition. Now, there are fans out there that might not like the fact that they're combining two stories together into one 8-part series, but there's a trilogy of stories here and a new book coming out this month, which means that if it does well, it's going to be treated very similar to the series of unfortunate events, getting 3 seasons covering a vast majority of the books and then giving us a solid conclusion. And here's the thing, and I just want to touch upon this, and I know I talk about this a lot, but it's true. If you start giving people closure to these stories, you will start seeing loyalty in your next project, because people like to have things finished, right? Nobody wants to get blue-balled on a story or a show or a series or a movie or whatever. And you start giving them that finish, you allow them to get their rocks off in that regard, they come back for more because they know they can trust you. And that even though it may or may not be the greatest thing ever, it's not over till both people get their fortune cookies, if you know what I mean. So there's that particular analysis or that analogy. You can take that for what you will. Now, this is an interesting one, and one that I'm super excited for, because Al Pacino is going to be hunting some Nazis for Jordan Peele. That's a sentence I never thought I'd say out loud. Al Pacino hunting Nazis. Just imagine if it was like a scent of a woman. Hoo-ah! Hoo-ah, Hitler! Hoo-ah! You're dead. I can't do an Al Pacino, but let's move on here. It says Al Pacino is going to be joining the Amazon series The Hunt. The show, which hails from executive producer Jordan Peele, focuses on a team of Nazi hunters in 1977 New York who discover hundreds of secret Nazis are attempting to create a Fourth Reich in the United States. That sounds cool as shit. Deadline broke the news about Pacino joining The Hunt. The Jordan Peele-produced series is also stars Logan Lermer and was created by David Weil. The 10-episode season follows a diverse band of Nazi hunters living in 1977 New York. The Hunters, as they're known, have discovered that hundreds of high-ranking Nazi officials are living among us and conspiring to create a Fourth Reich in the United States. The eclectic team of hunters will set out on a bloody quest to bring the Nazis to justice and thwart their new genocidal plans. Okay, can I kind of stop for a second and say that this storyline feels remarkably close to that Guillermo del Toro show, The Strain on FX, where vampires take over New York, and it's up to like a plucky CDC employee with a bad wig to fight them? Kind of seems a little bit similar, but this time instead of vampires, it's Nazis, and it's in New York City in the 70s. So I expect a lot of exploitation and a lot of brutal Nazi deaths. But at the same time, hundreds of high-ranking Nazi officials were able to flee as the Third Reich collapsed and make their way over to the United States completely undetected. Stranger things have happened. Now, Lerman here plays Jonah Heidelbaum, who, when his grandmother is slain by a mysterious intruder in their apartment, sets out to track the culprit, only to find himself swept up in the mysterious organization known as The Hunt, a group of justice-seeking individuals dedicated to rooting out the Nazi murderers living in the U.S. under assumed identities. Pacino is playing a Nazi hunter who takes Lerman's character under his wing. That could be that could be good. That could be really good. I think it's going to be a fun show. right? I mean, not fun like in the yay party sort of way, but fun in like the let's watch Nazis get brutally murdered. And I'm okay with that, right? I'm totally okay with it. I have no problem with that. So this could be good. I don't know when it's going to come out, but I'm definitely excited for when it does. And Amazon, you've got a viewer in me already just based on the premise alone. Now, finally, this popped up right as I was getting ready to record this. I had to talk about this. Holy shit. Mortal Kombat animated movie in the works. And people out there are going to be rolling their eyes and groaning loudly. Whoa, Mortal Kombat animated movie. I don't want that. I think you do. I do. I think you are down for it. It says, is a new Mortal Kombat animated movie on the way from Warner Brothers Animation? That's the new rumor floating around. Many fans of one of the gaming world's most enduring franchises have been waiting a long time for Scorpion, Raiden, Sub-Zero, and the gang to make their way back to the big screen or small screen. Some admirable fan attempts aside, it's yet to happen, but that could be changing relatively soon, assuming this report is true. Now, this report, of course, is alleged. It is a take with a grain of salt. You don't know if it's real, you don't know if it's fake, but let's just hypothesize and fantasize about a potential Mortal Kombat animated movie. Now, it says here that according to this report, Warner Brothers is indeed already working on a Mortal Kombat animated film, which would be coming from the same studio behind the often well-regarded DC animated adaptations. That's not a bad place to start, and since those movies are R-rated when they need to be, they wouldn't hold back on the violence, which is also very true. Which is when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, that's cool, man, because those DC movies are great. The DC animated movies are fantastic, and you're hard pressed to find people to go, oh, those are terrible. But no, they're pretty freaking good. Now, it also says here that the report also comes with some cast members, starting with former community star Joel McHale. While his role wasn't specifically identified, it's speculated he could be playing Johnny Cage. The other name specifically mentioned is Jennifer Carpenter, who played on Dexter. There's no confirmation on who she would be playing, but the speculation that she may be voicing Sonya Blade. Well, here's the thing. If they're going to be focusing on Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade, then it would make sense. I would argue those would probably be the two main characters that are teaming up to fight Shang Tsung. And of course, like, Liu Kang is going to be there and everything else. Give me some Raiden. It says other cast members included Darren DePaul, Fred Tatasciore, Gray Griffin, Ike Amandi, Kevin Michael Richardson, he's a great guy, Patrick Seitz, and Robin Atkin Downs, who is a great voice actor, and Steve Blum, and Jordan Rodriguez. So here's the thing with this one, right? Here's what I'm thinking. Now, if it's from the same animated studio that's behind the DC films, it's going to be traditional 2D animation. Nothing wrong with that. I'm a little bit bummed because what I would like to see is I'd like to see NetherRealm actually work with Warner's on this one and use in-game engine to create a machinima movie where all the violence and the gore is already kind of programmed in and they just make it a thing. Now, they can do cutscenes. They have a story mode in there, so they can just expand upon that. And I think that would be interesting. However, at the same time, I understand that that could kind of break into a weird, I don't want to say uncanny valley type situation, but definitely a type of thing that may or may not be, good. Right? It's going to be a little bit awkward for people to sit there and watch a machinima version of a movie and have it be taken seriously. It's just, Red versus Blue was a great machinima, but you never really took it seriously for its artistic merits. It was fun to watch, and it was still fun to watch all these years later. A couple years ago, they released Terminator Salvation, the video game machinima, or the machinima movie. And it was just the cutscenes and a few other little things from the game. It was kind of a hard watch, and it's not something that I think would ever really make it into the mainstream. But it's not that it's worth a shot, in my opinion, to even make the attempt to go that route. And I'd like to see that. I'd like to see them do that, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to go 2D, and that's cool with me. Provided that the story's good and that there's a lot of violence, and we still get they still bring out the 95 soundtrack. Come on, you want the 95 soundtrack as much as me. All right, guys, that actually wraps up today's episode of $3 Theater. Unfortunately, no voicemail calls today because no one called in. So that's just the truth of it, unfortunately. But if you guys do want to call in, you always can at 818-350-3281. That's 818-350-3281. If anything, I'll be back on tomorrow to talk to you guys more about what's going on in Hollywood. Have yourself a fantastic day, guys, and peace out.